And I want to welcome the report that has come out from the Children's Committee, and indeed following on from other reports and other debates in other committees, including the Education Committee, of which I'm a member myself. Now, I have to say, I think I can speak with some authority on this subject, maybe not childhood obesity, but certainly within the last 6 years, I was 4 stone heavier than I am now. And I have really taken some measures to reduce that over the last number of years. I think there were necessary measures in my own interest and in the interest of my own children and my own family. And I think that all of us in society need to take a look at what we're actually doing. And people say to me, what's the secret? What worked for you? Well, actually, it's very simple. Eat less and move more. And I think that if we try to put that into practice around the place and in terms of our planning, I think we can make a difference. The real reason that the issue of childhood obesity is so important is that there is some evidence, it's not conclusive evidence, but there is some evidence that obesity isn't reversible or becomes very much increasingly difficult to reverse the longer it goes on. There's certainly evidence of that, and while there are all sorts of stories of people who've done well, it's very, very difficult to do well. And what we're doing is, with children in particular who are obese, but also adults, it's really a death sentence, actually. It's a life sentence, certainly, to high blood pressure and all sorts of other diseases that flow from that. I think that people need to know about these issues in the starkest possible terms. This is going to kill you. It's going to kill lots of people and in various different ways. And it's certainly something that I'm forever grateful that I copped onto. I wasn't the most sporty person in the world when I was at school and growing up. My father played Soccer League of Ireland. My wife has played for 4 counties. Thanks be to God, my kids play all the time. And that's I think the most important thing that we can give to kids is to let them play. And yes, I fully agree that we need far more PE facilities in our schools, and it is absolutely outrageous in terms of the deficit that's there. But actually, allowing kids more time in the yard, doing classes outside when the weather is good, moving around, even ourselves, taking phone calls, just walk up and down Moulsey Street when you're on the phone to constituents rather than sitting at your desk can make a difference. And that is something that I try to put into practice. It is disgraceful, though, that in some urban areas, including parts of my own constituency, there are schools in urban areas that you can't walk to or that you can't cycle to. And that's outrageous. Schools with 400 or 500 children in them, and nobody can walk to school. They just can't, because they're on a busy road, out in a suburban area in particular, and there's no footpaths, for example. But also there's no proactive effort from the Department of Education or the Department of Health to insist that maybe there would be cycling buses like they have in Amsterdam and other European cities. I saw them featured on some news. Galway, they have them in Galway. I saw them in Galway. That's where I saw them recently. But I saw them in Amsterdam 3 years ago. So that's unbelievable. Maybe 10 kids on the back of a bike. It was absolutely tremendous. And of course, Amsterdam is geared up for cycling, so it's a different kettle of fish. But there are effective ways of doing this, because we have to get real, and we have to get real as adults as well. And you know, I found myself 6 or 7 years ago as, like, I'm not blowing my own trumpet, an educated person like many of us here. Went to college, professional qualification, foreign professional qualification. But I have to say, I found that I was utterly clueless about food, completely uneducated about food. And I think a lot of Irish people are utterly uneducated about food. For example, I never ever considered the calories in fruit juice. Never considered it. Now I never go down the fruit juice aisle at all. And it's amazing what a simple change that can do. There's no need to drink it. No, our children should not be drinking fruit juice. They should not be drinking orange juice ever. Do you remember years ago the tiny little glass of orange juice? Where have those tiny little glasses gone that you used to get if you're getting a breakfast? They're gone. People are big glasses of orange juice, full of sugar, full of calories, making the country fat. People don't eat enough peanuts. People don't eat enough peas, chickpeas, beans, etc. It's not part of our diet. We've got to get into it. People don't eat enough vegetables. Our Irish farmers are growing all the broccoli and cabbage, carrots, all these good things that we need, and we're not eating enough of. So really, I'm speaking here today, I've given my little bit of wisdom. We've got to educate ourselves as parents, as citizens. We've got to take responsibility. We've got to show example. We've got to stop this, because already there are people who are destined now for a life of ill health, and all of us in society have a responsibility for that. All of us are responsible for the deaths that result from the obesity epidemic. People are dying all the time from it, and will continue to die from it unless the country as a whole And society as a whole in the Western world cops on. We need to cop on very, very quickly. Because people talk about alcohol, it's a reason for obesity. Alcohol isn't an issue of childhood obesity. In fact, it's not the main issue at all. It is an issue about food and eating too much food. We've got to get real about portion size. You know, actually, a child's meal in Burger King is enough for an adult, for a snack. That's the truth. And if I go to Burger King the odd time, rarely enough, it's a child's meal I order. It's big enough if you're just having a little bit of lunch. And it's things like that that we've got to start educating ourselves about. And the calorie counters I find to be extremely useful. And I strongly urge anyone who's interested to look at calorie counting, to look at apps like MyFitnessPal, to add up what you're eating on a daily basis. That's what's worked for me, actually. And I've been counting up everything I eat for the last 6 or 7 years. I can't remember exactly, and how my weight has predominantly gone down, although it is a constant battle. So that's it. That's all I have to say on this, just to give my own pearls of wisdom and encourage others to do what so far has worked for me. But it is a constant battle, and I want to give reassurance to those out there who are finding it really hard that it is really, really hard. But there are certain things that you can do that will make it easier. And I think we need to talk more about it as well, and give reassurance to people that when they fail, that they can get on the upward path again. But also, with our children, eat less, eat enough, move a lot more, and let our children free on housing estates and in towns. Like when I was 8, I was allowed to go to supermarkets on behalf of my mother. That doesn't happen now. Kids are not allowed out, and there may be reasons for that, I don't know. But I think we need to give a bit more freedom to our children during the daytime hours to be out and about, moving, and I think that will help with the obesity epidemic.
Thank you, Deputy.